Welcome to the Creation Grounds podcast, where we break down the success, habits, and the life of people in creative fields, discover how they've gotten to where they are, what they aspire to be, and how you can live your dreams too. Let's get to the show. Welcome to another episode of the Creation Grounds. I'm in Theater 80 in the East Village with Fulton Hodges, our next guest. He's in this play, The Soldiers Play, with me, and we kind of want to dig into his background a little bit. So, I know that you're born in New York.
Yeah, a native New Yorker, man.
Yeah.
January 12, 1963, Kings County Hospital, Brooklyn, New York. There
Brooklyn,
you go.
represent.
Yes, indeed.
And you have 40 years in the theater and an Audelco award. You've been a recipient of the famed Audelco. But before we get into your accomplishments, tell us what it was like growing up for you.
Well, my father had 7 children.
Wow.
Okay, my father had 7 children. I got 6 siblings, 3 brothers and 3 sisters. So, we lived in Brooklyn until I was the age of 7, and then we moved out to Queens. We were in a tight little apartment back then. He was a laborer. He worked at an auto mechanic workshop. And it was a little tight, you had the brothers in one room, the sisters in another room, and then my father and mother, they had their own bedroom. So it was a little tight and stuff. The interesting thing about it is the only 2 that can go off outside off of the porch was my 2 oldest, my oldest sister and my older brother. The rest of us, we were restricted to sitting on the stoop. We couldn't go nowhere because my father was very, very particular. He said, you're not getting off of this stoop so that something can happen to you. And we were precocious and we were, energetic little kids and stuff. Even though one would think otherwise, because my demeanor is very, very low key. I'm very, very laid back until I get into my creative flow.
Right.
Okay. Once I do that, but we'll talk about that in a minute. But anyway, we were restricted to the stoop. And it wasn't until I was at age 7 we were excited because we were going to move into this big old house in Queens, New York, Hollis, New York.
Wow.
And it was a corner house, so we had our own back, yard and stuff, and it was a big house. So once we were there, there was still this whole idea of, when you're a kid, you go on the block, you play with your friends and everything. But then as you get older, when you get into your teens, you start thinking about, well, what is it can I do other than the same thing of going outside, doing, I was very, very much, I was bright in high school. In high school, I was very, very bright.
We all know you're just not bright now, though.
Of course I'm not bright now. When you get my age, you're not going to be bright either. So, and, you funny. Anyway, so, I was very, very, it was, you can call me a nerd because I hung with nerds out in high school. Well, I was pretty smart and stuff, and active. I loved football. I loved baseball.
Right.
I loved playing music. I played the trumpet for a little bit. Okay, a lot of people don't know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that. Exclusive.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know. So, I started to, hanging with friends on my block. One of my friends, his uncle was a choreographer, and he was working at Black Spectrum Theater, teaching dance. Yeah. So he said that they're offering workshops. They're offering workshops where you will get paid to take these workshops. It was part of some type of program. I said, wow, get paid for, learning how to do video production, film production, learning dance, theater. I said, how can you beat that? I said, I can get some change in my pocket, and I'll learn. And that's where my love of theater first started. I was in high school. I think I had just started high school. So I said, wow, this is interesting. So I would make that commute to St. Albans, Queens, where, it had a little 75-seat theater, what we call, almost like the black box theater.
Right.
Very, very small and stuff. But, he was getting grants and everything to, do these programs for these, youngsters, teenagers. So we would go and we would learn all the, things about acting and stage managing and all that stuff, and film and video production. So, once the program ended, I kind of made my flow into that company. They also had, at that time, adult professional acting company, a youth acting company, and then they had a children's company. So while I was there, I said, let me go into the youth company because I was around that age at the time. And, I would go into the youth company. I would learn, the acting with the youth company. I was an assistant stage manager for the adult professional company. And then in the children's company, I was their production stage manager. So I learned stage managing at an early age. That's when I said to myself, okay, this acting thing is all right, but if I want to stay in this business, and it wasn't until I got into college that I realized that if I'm going to try to do something in this business, I need to learn all aspects of theater, not just it. So, when people look at my bio now, I put actor, director, stage and house manager, fire guard, and teaching artist, because those are all the things that I've been doing, and I still do in this career that has spanned 40 plus years.
Yeah.
So
I want to also comment on, you grew up in a time where it was probably beneficial for you to get involved with theater because the crack epidemic in New York, and just it kept you safe.
And it's interesting that you said that, because my mother, she was not feeling that. She did not want me to get into I'm supposed to be a doctor. You said you were going to be a doctor, so that's what you're going to be.
Right.
And then my father talked to her one time. She was like, no, you can't go to that theater. You can't go to He looked at it, he said, let him do what it is that he wants to do. It will keep him off the streets. I will not have to worry about them. If that's what he wants to do, Andy, let him do it.
Yeah.
One of the major points in my father's very short life that I learned, because my father passed away in 1981 of cancer at the age of 45.
Wow. And
that was one of the major things that stuck with me. If he wants to do it, let him do it. And I've kept that mantra with me to this day. If I want to go out and do film, I will do it. If I want to go out and do television, I will do it. If I want to do the stage, which is most of my life that I've been doing, I'm going to do it. Okay, and I'm going to give as much, 100, 200% when I do any type of job that I do. And that's something that, I would impress upon anybody.
That's dope, man. So he wouldn't let you off the stoop, but he let you.
He wouldn't let me off the stoop, but he said, go on to that theater and learn. Go on to that theater and learn and stuff, And I love it. I think, that's one of the things that I do miss about him, was the fact that he did not see me flourish in this.
Yeah.
My mother got a chance to see me do my thing when I invited her to see. At the time, I was teaching the Black Spectrum's Teen Acting Institute, and we did a musical called A Trip to Nowhere. Okay? No, I'm sorry, it wasn't a musical that she saw. It was a play that I wrote on gun violence called Samson's Way.
Wow.
And I had all teenagers in, and I had maybe about 5 adults, and it was a huge cast. And she came to see it. I think it was around Mother's Day, because I had a whole thing of roses for her that I gave to her. And I said to her, this is what I do. This is what I do when I address the audience afterwards, because it was a play where you had to talk to the audience afterwards. Gun violence was very, very prevalent back during the time that I was teaching the young people. And I always asked them, I said, what is it that affects your lives right at this moment? As a teacher, as the drama teacher, I have them get into a semicircle, and we would talk about issues that affect them, because that's what I wrote for them. I taught them for 19 years at Black Spectrum,
Right.
ages 13 to 19, and I said, what are we going to explore this season on the stage? Okay, because we got to write it and we got to perform it. Okay, and one of the biggest things that came out of that was the gun violence, which was prevalent even now when you talk about Chicago and a lot of other urban cities and stuff. Yeah. And you know, people saying, well, you're killing yourselves, y'all doing that and stuff. I said, Martin Luther King made a comment a long time ago in terms of you talk about black on black this, black on black this, but you don't understand the economics of why folks do what they do. For sure. They're living poor, and you are not giving them these things that they need to flourish. You keep saying you'll go to school, they go to school, you will not hire them.
Right.
You will not hire them. So don't talk to me about, crime, black on black crime, because white on white crime is just as bad, if not worse. Okay. And so, so don't, and you're killing each other. I do understand the fact that it is a conscious choice to make if you're going to pick up a gun.
Yeah.
And, that's your choice, okay? So you just be prepared for the consequences after that.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's one of the things that we debated and talked about with these young people and in a theater environment. And that's what I loved about it. I was able to work in a teen acting institute and teach them things and talk to them about how they react and respond to each other. And it was not just a learning thing for them, it was a learning thing for me, because I learned how to communicate with them. You got to learn how to communicate with these young people nowadays, because they come at you in all different angles and all different kinds of ways.
Yeah.
And that was something that I learned.
Who would you say inspires you the most as an actor or an actress? And what you were talking about learning and teaching students, what would you say to a young actor who wants to have longevity in his career? During your expertise, your knowledge, your time spent in the game, what would you say to that person? What's the one quality they'll need in order to thrive?
Well, let me talk about the inspiration. One of my biggest inspirations, and I worked with him even before I even got involved with NEC. One of my biggest inspirations, and a lot of y'all don't know, was the Arthur French.
Arthur French.
Okay. Arthur French was on the board of directors at Black Spectrum Theater when I was, over there. A lot of people do not know that I worked at Black Spectrum Theater for a total of 32 years.
Wow.
32 years. Everything that I learned in theater, I honed right there. And Carl Clay, who is the executive director of Black Spectrum, he opened up a forum for me to do that. One of the directors that directs with NEC now, Beth Howard, she always called me her right arm, because I worked with her 30 of those 32 years at Black Spectrum.
Right.
And anything theater, she had me stage manage, she had me act, she had me running lights, she had me running sound. She had me doing a whole lot of things, which I already learned at the theater. So, these two, I hold to the highest standard, okay? Because I take from them that whole idea of, when you do this, you have to make sure that you are in that frame of mind that, okay, it's a job. Yeah, it's a job. You can have fun doing it. Okay, you got to love what you do. You have to love what you do. It's so very, very longevity. Arthur French. Okay, that's his middle name.
Yeah,
that's his middle name. If I can work on a great look, everything, and I work with his son. His son has his own writing workshop.
Wow.
Fusion Gumbo Writers Workshop. Arthur French III. And I stage managed a show when Arthur was little. 2 times I stage managed 2 shows where he did a musical and he did a straight stage play. And I said, these guys are, these are my close friends. These are people who I revere because they understand the importance of the professional ethic, which I see has faltered in a lot of people that are coming up.
How would you say that?
Well,
Comment
see,
on that.
it's very, very interesting. I come from that school where I always, if I was given a call time, I'm always there. Okay, if I'm going to be late, I always shoot a message to my stage man. Some of these, no offense, man, some of these young people, they just waltz up into rehearsal like, boom, 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 boom. I give the same type of professional courtesy and ethics with those people that are only paying me $200 as I would be getting $2,000.
Right.
It should not change, right? It
Right.
should not change. But some people have to feel that, even if you're not getting anything. There were times where I did stuff for nothing because I just wanted to experience. I just wanted the experience to go out there and do what it is that I do because I see so many people. I said, wow, if I can get there, I got to start all the way here.
Right.
But I got to work my way up, which brings me to that whole idea. If it was the one thing that I would give to people is that energy and strive that I do see a lot of young people have now. That I see a lot of my friends that are now in, television series and films, and they have lines and stuff like that. I said that drive, you have got to have that drive. You got to love what it is that you're doing, okay? And a lot of them have that passion and that energy because they go from one thing to another, which is what Arthur French.
Yeah.
See how that works?
Yeah.
See how that works? It comes around full circle. I say, these are the guys that we learned from.
Right.
These are the guys that we learned from. I'm very, very meticulous because I'm a director also, as well as a stage manager. When Charles Weldon gives me blocking to do, okay, and I don't have my pencil or my script with me on stage. As soon as I get off stage, I'm writing everything down. But some people don't. Some people don't do that. They think, okay, I got it in memory, and then I say, no. You're supposed to be here. Don't you remember what he said to you?
Yeah.
And in fact, I showed Chaz, Chaz, who is, understudying for the role of Davenport. I said, you're going to walk over here, you're going to look at Private Wilkie, and he's going to salute you, and then you're going to tell him to sit down.
Right.
Okay? I said, you know what? If you can give your fellow actor a hand, then go ahead.
For sure.
Do that. It's a wonderful thing to be in this business and to watch the professionals. I think I talked to you very briefly about those professional people and stuff. And I was in that stage when I was young, and I was like this, and all crazy energy bouncing off the walls and stuff. And I said, okay, now I understand what those people before me were talking about. I understand it fully. It comes around full circle.
So you would say energy and passion are
energy and passion, and a lot of you have that.
Yeah.
A lot of you show that. I mean, when you come in here and you try different things on the stage and you do stuff, I say, I applaud people that go out there on a regular basis and say, do that grind, as we call it. Do that grind because it's beautiful. It's wonderful.
Tell us the story of your Audelco experience.
Oh, wow. It's interesting because I don't have one Audelco award. I have 4.
Yeah, 4. Okay, I didn't know that.
Nobody knows that.
Okay.
I have more than Reggie. Reggie has 2.
He told me he has 3.
Well, his what he added as his third one was the fact that Ma Rainey's Black Bottom won the Audelco for Best Revival.
Oh, got it.
Okay. Won, for Best Revival. So he counts that as Audelco award. My first one that I won back in 1997 was for director of a musical production, and I tied with the great Woody King Jr.
No, you did not. Wow.
Yes, he directed the musical version of oh my God, it escapes me, because the sister that was in the lead actress in that, she won the Audelco of lead actor, while the gentleman that was in my musical, A Trip to Nowhere, won for lead actor in the musical production. Okay, it was one of those pieces that's, God's Trombones.
Okay.
That's what it was. Woody King directed a musical version of God's Trombones, and Debbie Blackwell Cook was in it, who was a friend of mine who played my mother when I played in Amen Corner at Black Spectrum Theater.
Yeah.
Me and Debbie came out of Black Spectrum Theater. Anyway, I took my whole youth company to the Audelco Awards. We did a musical number from the show called God Will Show You the Way. And it was interesting because, first of all, the Audelcos, they see these young people, they automatically assume that they're volunteers.
Uh-huh.
So I'm walking down the hall with two of my young girls, they're like 18 and 17. They're walking with me. I said, come on, we got to go and check out the green room. So this young girl came all and said, oh my God, more volunteers? So the girls looked at each other. She said, no, we're not volunteers. And the other girl said, we're nominees.
Oh, wow. Wow.
And I turned to them, I said, shh, come on. Because it was that type of energy and stuff. It was an experience for them. Mm-hmm. When A Trip to Nowhere was nominated for 5 Audelco Awards, and we won 4.
Wow.
We won for Musical Production of the Year. I won for Director of a Musical Production. We won for Best Choreography, which was done by one of the students in the production, and for Lead Actor in the Musical.
Wow.
The 5th one we didn't win was for Costume Design, but it didn't matter. So that was the first time. Then the following year, I did a play called Our Husband Has Gone Mad Again, and I was nominated for Supporting Actor. Mm-hmm. I didn't think I was going to win. I won last year. I ain't going to give it to me 2 years in a row. And when Takia Crystal Kima from Keenan Wyan's sketch comedy show.
In Living Color?
In Living Color. She presented it to me for Best Supporting Actor. And I was like, I screamed. I was, oh! So I walk up there with my tight suit on and stuff like this. I said, I did not expect this. But it is what it is. Then, what happened after that, 10 years later, in 2007, my youth company got a special award for being one of the most talented teen acting groups in New York City. And it was interesting because they won it for doing the same musical I had did 10 years prior,
Wow.
A Trip to Nowhere. It was like a reboot.
Mm-hmm.
It was a reboot, and I did a reboot, and that was that. In 2011, I won Best Ensemble Performance with the Castillo Theater. 5 of us was in a musical called Playing Heiner Mueller, and it's one of the one of the first times that I did it was non-traditional casting because we played all white characters, and it was 5 of us. It was 2 women and 3 males, and we had 18 songs, and we had 75 different characters.
Wow.
And we won that. I played Hitler. I played Hitler, and I played Bertolt Brecht, the playwright.
Yeah.
And it was different for us. But man, when I came out as Hitler, because my hair was low, and they gave me the mustache, and they gave me and what I had to do on stage, I had to mime like I'm talking to the masses, and I had to do that and everything.
Yeah.
But it was very, very interesting.
Yeah, so you brought up students a lot during this interview, and
Yes.
we can tell that you have a passion for young people, for teaching.
Yeah.
Talk about your passion for acting and giving back, and what is the value of that, and why is that important to you?
Well, we're going through such a hard time. Going through such a hard time when you talk about black theater in New York, okay? You don't see enough of it on Broadway, okay? And if you do see it, a lot of times it's musical. even though, you know, August Wilson is one of their most popular, okay? We see August Wilson a lot. I wish there was a lot more because we got a number of black playwrights out there that got some dynamic shows. I'm starting to see the rise of Dominique Morisseau.
Yes, she's on it. She's Lincoln Center Theater right now. She has a play going on.
And she just did a musical on the, is it The Temptations? I forgot which group. She just wrote a musical and it's up in Baltimore, I think it is. Anyway, Dominique and
Lynn Nottage.
I mean, we need to see more of that stuff too.
Right.
We need to see all these different, so not just August. Anyway, the thing is, you know, you have a lot of people that work, especially, and I'll use NEC as an example. You have a lot of folks that are, you know, have gone on from here, and just like some of the other black theaters, they're struggling. I said, you know, some of those people that come out of here, if this was the place that I started at home, okay, and I see them struggling, why not make a donation here? Why not make a donation there? Give back, come back and, you know, do a show for less money than you normally would get. If, you know, do it at the rate that we getting paid, okay? Come on, you know, give back to those people that have honed your skills, that taught you everything about respect for the art. And that's one of the biggest things that I see. My creative process is almost a little different than others because I direct. I direct as well as act. So there's a certain, if I was in Charles' shoes and I saw stuff happening that I know I would not like as a director, then, you know, I
So you kind of have an objective view while you're on stage acting.
Always.
Yeah.
I don't understand why anybody would have anything other than an objective view, because if you bring on something else, then, you know, it's going to show in your performance.
Oh, absolutely.
It's going to show your performance. So a lot of times, you know, and then it goes back to your training. It goes back to your training. If you see, after I said, there's only one director. You got one director, you got one assistant director. Not any of the other stuff, okay? I would not come up to Aaron and say, Aaron, I think that you should turn like that. You should talk like this. Not talk like this, talk like that.
Yeah.
And, you know, so I would, you know, I would just really talk, when you talk about giving back, you know, I really wish I was the recipient of one of those large amounts of money. I would give it back to Black Spectrum. I would give it to NEC. I would give it to the Happy Place. These are companies that I work with. I would give it to New Federal. They're struggling.
Yeah.
They are struggling, trying to get one show up for their season.
Yeah.
Okay? There was a time where they had 3 shows up a season, and then they had readings, and then they had, you know, fundraising. I mean, there's a time where that happened. I don't know what's happened with the whole idea of, you know, helping out and giving back, okay? It's strange to me. It's strange to me. And, you know, Hadley Players went under because they couldn't, you know, get the funding and everything. I said, well, what happened to the support? There was a big support system for Hadley Players, and it was a shame that they had to come down. Now they just do readings.
Wow. What is one thing about acting that you believe that other people think is insane?
That you can't make a living off of it.
That you can or can't? That
you can. A lot of people feel that, you know, actors can't make a living off of it, especially if you're doing stage. I said, that's how you know.
Yeah.
How you know? I said, where you get that idea? Where you get that idea? You see the way people be hustling to do one job? Everybody is always telling me, wow, you always busy, Fulton. I map my stuff out from January all the way to December.
Yeah.
Okay? I talk to people ahead of time. I said, what's going on? What's going on? Well, we're doing this, and we can fit you in here. Okay, I'll lock that in. I'll lock that in. I had to turn down jobs because of this.
Yeah, Soldiers Play?
Yeah, I had to turn down jobs because, you know, it's so funny. When they switched the rehearsal date, okay, I was supposed to stage manage for the Arthur French.
Wow.
And, you know, but I had to turn it down because at the time I said, you were running throughout the month of August, but I started rehearsal on August 7th.
Yeah.
And then, this was maybe a week after, he had asked me, maybe about 3 weeks after he had asked me. And I'm at the bus stop. I get a call from Gil, who plays Sergeant Waters. He said, did you get the email? I said, what email? That was sent Sundays? He said, I said, no, I don't recall it. I'm at the bus stop on my way to rehearsal, man. Oh, they changed the rehearsal start date.
Oh, wow. So you was on the way to rehearsal and just found out.
Just found out. I mean, that's on me because I'm very, very slow in checking my emails. But
when you think of the word creative, who is the first artist that comes to mind and why?
Creativity, creative. You know who's very, very innovative and very, very, and I seen him a number of times, the great Andre DeShields.
Oh, I've never seen him live, but I know who he is.
Whoa, man. You talk about innovative and creative. I mean, and he struts across the stage with such a bravado.
Yeah.
Okay, you know, I watch him and all the stuff that he does. He did a play called Knock Me a Kiss. And he was fantastic. He just has a certain poise, and there's a certain, when you think of, you know, going into that creative, if you go on stage and you have a certain presence, it's going to radiate, and you only get that if you go into that process and you work it. You work it. Your confidence.
Yep.
He has such amazing gifts that he brings to the stage. When you talk about creative, you sit down and think about what is it that I can bring to this character that is different from any other person that played it.
Yeah.
Any other person that played it, you got to bring a piece of you.
For sure.
You know, without a doubt. What else can I bring that will make me shine? And then I was talking to you about that moment where you broke and you said, it sure is great to see one of us in those stripes. I mean, whoa. I said, look at him enjoy that. And, you know, it was all physical and it was all vocal.
Yeah.
Okay, so you gave something that we reacted to, okay, because of the fact that you went and you worked on it. Okay, that's where you get your creativity from.
Right.
What it is that you do and what it is that you bring to that character. Okay? I'm still working on my Wookiee thing.
Yeah.
I'm still working on my Wookiee thing, but you see snips and pieces of it.
Yeah.
You see snips and pieces of it, and when all 12 of us come together, it's going to be a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Because each individual has their own creative process and what it is that they're going to bring creatively to that. How you do it is on you.
Right.
How you do whatever method that you do on you. But the whole idea, it fits like this.
Like a puzzle.
Like a puzzle. And then you get this big puzzle and then it's like boom.
Yeah.
So
tell us about the play you're in now before we wrap up. So you're doing what play and with what company and when's it open and who you playing and all that good stuff.
Well, I've been very, very fortunate to get cast in the Negro Ensemble Company's reboot of A Soldier's Play. I played the role of Private Wilkie, which was probably the only role that I could really do, which is the reason why that's the only role I went out for. You know. So I was very, very fortunate. We opened actually in preview on the 27th and 28th of September, and then open on September 29th and run to October 8th. 2 shows on Saturday, I think at 3 and 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's an honor because NEC was one of the companies that first did it back in 1982, and I remember seeing that production with a lot of my colleagues from Black Spectrum Theater. We went to see it, and we were mesmerized by it. And this is the first time they're doing it again, and to be cast in it, and have the spirits of all those people that were in it before. You feel the energy that's generating in that room.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a blessing in disguise. And I've always wanted to work as an actor under Charles Weldon's doing. I said, Charles, when you gonna use me? It's coming. It's coming. With that classic Charles, I got you, man. I got you. It's coming. Who would have thought that it would have been this particular piece?
Incredible, man. Fulton, thanks for coming on. Where can people reach you before are you up on the social media?
Yeah, I'm on social media, Fulton C. Hodges. You can reach me by email, actrecator1@yahoo. Let me explain to you about that email too.
Please do.
It spells out when you type it out, actrecator.
Actrecator.
So you put the word actor and educator together. And I got that from the woman that taught me stage manager, B.J. Pierce Astwood, because she always referred to herself as an actrecator by profession.
Mm-hmm.
So to honor her, I said, I'm using your, your title as part of my email, because she taught me everything I know about stage management. So you can reach me there at the email, or catch me, Fulton C. Hodges, on social media. I'm on Facebook. I don't do Twitter, so you ain't gonna catch me there, so don't even try it. Okay? All
right, Fulton. Come check us out in Soldiers Play on September 27th. It's been a pleasure, man.
You likewise. Thank you, sir.
That's it for this episode of The Creation Grounds. I'm your host, Aaron Lloyd. Be sure to check out our Instagram for future and previous guest info, and check out our YouTube channel in the show notes below. Email us with any suggestions at thecreationgrounds@gmail.com. And if you got something out of this, I'd really appreciate if you spread the word and the love. Until next time, this is Aaron Lloyd telling you that the sky is the limit. Stay creative.